chosen this one from Rod Rose from Pikeville, Kentucky. He says, this is my first time writing into the show. First off, I want to say how much I enjoy the podcast. I never miss an episode. Well done. Anyway, I was scouring YouTube and I ran across a wrestling pay-per-view from around 2011 or 2012 that streamed on Netflix called AWE, Awesome Wrestling Entertainment, Night of the Legends. To my surprise, the commentary team featured Larry Zbyszko, Chris Cruz, and the Dirty Dutchman himself. The main event featured a match between Ricky Morton and Kevin Nash with Ronnie Garvin, of all people, as special referee. Does Dutch remember much about the show or the bizarre main event that features a promo mid-match?
Oh, I remember the show. I had went up there to actually wrestle, and then they didn't have a commentator. And then they threw my name in there. And I said, now, if I'm commentating, I'm not going to wrestle too, because that's 2 jobs. Okay, no, you just commentate. Here's your, and they got me my tux. I had a tux on. I look very nice in a tux, by the way.
Did they provide you a tuxedo?
They did that day, yes.
Oh, very nice.
And we did, me and Larry Zbyszko did the show. And it's hard to do shows that way, though, because they're trying to tell a story that you're not familiar with, nor are the fans in most cases. But your job is to kind of bring them into the moment. And I tried to do it as best I could, but it was a failure. I think the pay-per-view, I mean, the matches on the pay-per-view were okay, but if we'd have had some angles that we kind of understood, but there was no way for anybody to understand any angles because they didn't have a TV, they didn't have nothing. It was one of those thrown together at the last minute type deals, but it paid good, and wrestling fans were, they'll buy it, they'll watch it. So as on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give it about a 5.
It's not too bad of an experience. I've heard that promoter, whoever he was, paid really well. And when I interviewed Ricky Morton, the first time, you understand what I'm saying, you know what I mean? Yeah. He said that pay-per-view was the best payoff he ever received. It was either like $7,000 or $9,000.
Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to throw the flag on that one.
For a single event, that's what he claims. That's the best paying single show he ever was on.
Well, if he got it, more power to him. But
do you know?
Guess what I got paid?
$2,000.
No, less than that.
15.
Yeah. But that's okay just to sit up there and talk.
With a free tux.
I mean, if the people were really tuning in to see me talk, well, I'm sure the promoter would have realized that by that day. And since my name didn't go up to the day of the pay-per-view, whatever it drew wasn't up to me. But I don't know. I think you got to be careful about those pay-per-views figures.
It's funny with if there's just like a really oddball wrestling pay-per-view, you seem to be commentating on it. So we've got AWE, and then you had Heroes of Wrestling, which you also commentated on. So if you've just got an out there wrestling pay-per-view, then just call Dutch to do the commentary on it.
It just called Dutch because we couldn't make sense of it. We damn sure know that he won't make sense of it. But he has some pretty good stories, and we'll just get it out there and let it run and see where it takes us.
Are you aware, excuse me, as a burp into the camera, are you aware of the, Kevin Nash, Ricky Morton issues, whether contrived or real, going into this pay-per-view?
What was the issue?
Well, glad you asked. So, and I'm not as glad that the answer's on the next page. Kevin Nash had said something about, I don't know, the boys in the 80s or something like that. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, Ricky Morton, this was on an RF video shoot like back in 2000 or something. And he responded to Kevin Nash as saying he didn't know anything about the business and that he couldn't draw flies in a shit factory.
Now, hey, that's pretty strong. Couldn't draw flies in a shit factory. And he directed that comment to Kevin Nash.
Yes, and then he made more pointed references to Kevin Nash throughout this RF video shoot. So it's probably the first pay-per-view ever where the main event revolved around shoot interviews. Crazy. But that was also 10 years before the pay-per-view came out as well, so there you go.
So it took 10 years for that pay-per-view to come out?
After the initial comments, yes. Also, very quickly, how did you like working with Chris Cruz and Larry Zbyszko?
Chris, they're okay, but I'm saying the styles didn't match up. So all I can say was it was what it was.